drive when you're on it.
Right.
I mean, do I gotta notify them if I go to a bar?
Jack,
I mean, come on.
right, yeah.
I think that's what's actually good by HIPAA.
Well, if you talk to him, tell him to stop it off or fold it up and just put it.
You want a seat over there?
Yeah, I'll wait.
You want a seat over there?
At the same time.
I can grab your trivia.
After the, would you mind handing that to her?
Take that one, Tom?
Or not, give it back to me.
Whatever.
This is very sweet.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, let's see it, though.
Good to see you, too, Fred.
Well, though, turns out this one is a force sprinkler.
Oh, well, that ought to knock you out.
Oh, yeah. First time I took it, I slept for 18 hours. Woke up late for formation. My sergeant was yelling at me.
There's agendas here, if you want.
Talking about losing a day.
Okay, 5 p.m. I'm Dave Moore, Chair of the Black Canyon City Water Improvement District. Time is 5 p.m. I'd like to call to order the Tuesday, April 25th, 2023, Black Canyon City Water Improvement District, which is open to the public and being held at the Black Canyon City Library. Our first order of business, time 5 o'clock. First order of business is roll call. Again, I'm Dave Moore, Chair.
Chairman Bruckner, member at large.
Everything more interesting?
And Jed Carter had a meeting come up at the last minute, so he could not make tonight's meeting, unfortunately. Called me a little while ago. And for management, Sarah Ravina and office, and Bob Honest, operations, management. From the public,
Give a bird.
wants to,
Elaine Clayton.
and
Tom Streetak?
Tom Strizak.
Yes.
All right, welcome. Thank you all very much for attending. Appreciate that very much. And our second order of business is reflection time. So if we can have a moment of silence, we appreciate that. All right, thank you. Board member reports. Jeremy, do you have anything new on what you've noticed on water trucking?
Well, the water continues to travel down freeway, according to Kiewit in the meeting that I attended to with Greg not too long ago. It seems to be that they have their water in a kind of a loop set up to where they're delivering, and they're allegedly picking up from somewhere else down there, bringing it north, according to them. So, I don't know, I guess they're not pulling all water out of Black Canyon right now, but they couldn't really state where they were pulling the water at down there, according to the meeting. So, that's all.
It's not table mix.
According to the meeting, they're not tapped in the Table Mesa yet, so.
How about Epcor down in Anthem?
I don't know if they're utilizing their services or not.
My understanding, 40% of the freeway water is supposed to come from that port.
That's
But I don't know if it's being monitored. They didn't really say in the meeting.
okay. All right. Anything else? Very good. I appreciate that. Any board report from you? Oh, sorry.
Post office and at Rise Market.
Post office. Market. The agenda. Okay. And I have the posting for the February board meeting, minutes of that board meeting on our website. And tonight's meeting was posted 2 or 3 days ago on our website, as well as the Black Canyon City Bulletin Board and a couple other sites that they were posted to. We have also had quite a few requests for records from the public, records requests of contracts, checking account data with detail, and some other information that is still ongoing. Just wanted to put that out in the board reports, which is time consuming for all parties. And that is the end of my board report. Agenda item 4 is the approval of the March 28th regular board meeting minutes. Everyone received a copy of that. Have you had an opportunity to review it? Yes. Yes. Any changes or suggestions that need to be made on this?
No, I didn't find any.
I do not find it.
All right. Kind of a typo, but I don't see it now, so I'm moving on. It couldn't have been that important. It was Kiewit. Thank you. Kiewit was spelled wrong.
K-I-E-I-T-T, or is it just one?
One T, but it was only K-I. What?
It means the same.
Right.
Like I told you, I couldn't find it, so it didn't have been that.
Exactly who we were
All
talking
right.
about.
No changes from the board. All right.
Now.
Oh,
No, it's KIEWIT.
I-T.
If we're all done, I'd like to make a motion to approve the March 28, 2023 regular board meeting minutes. May I have a second?
Second up.
All right. Jeremy Bruckner seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Agenda item 5 is the treasurer's financial report for approval as of March 31st. Would you give us the report here?
The financial management reports for approval as of 3/31/2023. QuickBooks balances for all bank accounts, total, all accounts. Beginning total, $481,518.18. Ending total, $506,810.08. That's a positive difference of $25,291.90. Also, 2 monthly cash management reports are showing actual total receipts deposited, all sources in March, $54,182.74. And last general journal cash account increase, monthly scanner fee of $45, Bank of the West bank merchant fees of $174.81, return check and bank fee of $49.66. And the total disbursements for the month in March, $28,621.37. So that's a total of all accounts balancing with above reconciliation, $25,291.90. The March billing total is $36,423.47. The March gallonage was 3,397,000 gallons. The previous month was 3,946,000 gallons. The March 2022 comparison was 3,693,000 gallons. The total for the fiscal year 2022-2023 was 39,772,000 gallons for 9 months. The previous 2021-2023 comparison was 41,529,000 gallons for 9 months. Financials include QuickBooks invoices 3241 to 3269 and enhanced audit number 2660 to 2740 for the accounts receivable in both enhanced and QuickBooks balancing at $28,072.38. The credit and debit card payments, there was a total of 80 transactions processed in batch number 210 to 228. There were 45 debit and 35 credits. The total process was $9,638.99. Review of all audit adjustments was done. Delinquent penalties, fees, postage, final rates, refund of security deposit, reread, correction for non. There were no impact fees processed in month. Attached to the monthly journal entry for approval, respectively submitted by Sarah Ravina Management and Dorothy Montford.
Thank you, Gordon. Are there any questions on the financial report as presented for the ending period of March 31st, 23? All right, may I have a motion to approve the March 31st, 23 financial management report as presented?
Make a motion to approve for budget report.
Jeremy so moves. I will second. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Motion carries unanimous. Agenda item 6 is the operations report for approval as of April 21, 23. Bob, would you mind? Oh, yes, please. Thanks, sir.
All right, so we have 24 work orders. 24 of them were completed. That included 2 turn-ons, 2 turn-offs, no new meters, 1 valve meter replacement repair, 6 mainline breaks or surge breaks, 4 well booster pump systems repair, site maintenance, 7 rereads or final reads, no water pressure condition issues, and then 2 customer service issues. So we had the 2 turn-ons, the one on Cactus Cove and Michael Vista, they just come on. Okay, so we turned it on. The 2 lock-offs were locked for non-payment. We had a meter fixed at Wyatt. Somebody ran over the actual meter box and crushed the water service line. We had 6 repairs, a couple at the meter, right at the meter on our side. And then the big ones were the one on the well end, and then on Palo Verde, APS damaged our line, working on a pole, setting a pole for APS. We are working on filing a claim, see if we can get reimbursed for that cost. We did some maintenance at the well sites. The April and Choya were just general cleanup stuff, maintenance. We started weed whacking all of the wells and booster pumps so we could draw them like crazy. We'll be back out there Thursday or Friday working on that. We had an airlock in the Kings Ranch booster pump station. We had 5 rereads, 3 of them required. Sarah should be able to credit the account misread. And we had 2 of them that were okay. We had 2 final reads. And then we got called out to check a leak. All the roads, we didn't see a leak. And then a blue state at Old Mud Springs. We have a total of 49 blue stakes. We still continue to get hammered on blue stakes. Joe's done a ton of blue staking. 55 pink slips. The arsenic for this quarter has not been tested. I'll probably do that next couple of weeks. It's not due till end of June. That's quarterly. The coliform samples were pulled. We're looking good there. Water stats, wells are looking good. They're sitting right about 20 feet. So they're sitting well there. GOA sites, yeah. Meter cut still close. Got an electrician that is going, a licensed electrician that is going to install that for us. He had to work through some issues with NCS. NCS had called out a grounding well box so that we could monitor the ground, the presence of proper grounding, which is overkill. This electrician's gone and only seen that in cell towers. So he recommended, based on the code, to put in 2 grounding rods and be done. We got that approved through NCS this afternoon, so we are going forward with that project. We'll move on. Water treatment system.
We shall return, Bob.
Yeah.
Okay.
The arsenic, resizing, getting new vessels, pulled samples. So we're working with, got a quote from Edge. We're also looking at Kansas State filtration. Kansas State had asked us to pull samples so that they could do design work. We pulled those samples, so now we're waiting for the results so we can go forward with that. The Big John, I'll wait on the Big John stuff because you get that as a line item.
Oh, on the okay.
Yeah. It's like
Okay.
Yep.
Back to the water treatment system rehab.
Yep.
So you pulled those samples at the request of Canyon State, right?
Correct.
Filtration.
Correct.
Did I get from you that you were also sending those to Advent? Are they looking for them or just Canyon
Just
State?
Canyon States.
Okay.
Yep.
And is there going to be a cost from Canyon to do whatever they're going to do with these samples? Because I'm unclear about that.
So, no, they will take our samples, give us a kind of a quote and a design of what is needed to replace what we have.
Based on what those samples tell them.
Yep.
How much arsenic, how much whatever's in there.
But there's no fee for them to do that design work. That's just part
Got
of them working up a quote. So.
Does that help them on capacity, or do they already know what that is based on what we have?
No, they wanted to start fresh
Got
to
it.
make sure
Got
that
it.
they
Okay.
met what our needs are today.
Okay.
And then if we go forward with them, any submittals to ADQ and all that, they'll cover all of that. They'll all be part of their one package. So it'll be one package job. Right. One check.
Gotcha. The electrical, commercial license electrical gentleman you have, his name's David, right?
David, correct.
Has he given you any idea once NCS, the engineer, got back to you, how long it would take him to finish that job? I'm just trying to see if we're going to be doing anything but handstands at the next meeting, that's all.
We're going to be doing handstands.
Oh, we are?
Yes. So he thought he would get it done this month.
Really?
His mom passed away 2 weeks ago, so that delayed him by 10 days or so. So,
Sure.
but he's thinking he's gonna get done in the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
By the holidays.
With holiday. With holiday, Bob. All right, okay. The next question I had is on the blue stakes.
Yes.
You mentioned that they were still very high. There's roughly 50 of them. What are we blue staking other than the normal homeowner digging holes and stuff? What are we
APS.
blue staking?
APS is having us blue stake every pole. They're moving power lines.
Oh, they are moving them.
Yep.
Freeway?
Yeah, I'm not sure where they're at. But
Well, they're moving them.
yeah, Joe just made a comment. He's like, they're having us mark every pole. Yeah.
But yeah, the freeway too, because I think, isn't it every 30 days they have to?
Yeah, but that one goes pretty quick.
Yeah.
Because we've already.
Because you already know where the blue
Yes,
is.
we are, yes. It's really APS that's really killing them at this point. But yeah, that's a couple a day.
Okay. Hold on. Going back to the main or service break leak repair Palo Verde APS damaged water line.
Mm-hmm.
What did we spend on that, and what is the responsibility that you feel APS should reimburse us for? I mean, roughly.
Yeah, I want to say it was $8,000 or $9,000 we spent on.
I thought it was 8 or 9
Yeah,
thousand.
yeah,
And that one went
to Tony.
to Mr. Chandler, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was because you had to do the roll.
Yeah,
Okay.
yep. And
So eight to 9 grand.
just the sidebar, Joe talked to Tony today. Tony's been doing a lot of repair up at Coldwater Springs. Every repair he's done, whether it's a new road, old road, they are making him bring it up to current code. Yep, so our cost to repair in the road is going to be that $8,000 to $9,000 every time.
Or more.
Yeah,
We had one close to 15
right. Yeah.
on Mesquite.
Yep. So that's just kind of an FYI, whatever, for today. Good news.
Wow. And those things used to be a $3,000 deal.
Right.
You know, you dug a 2x2, you hopped in the hole, you put a
Yeah, put asphalt down.
Never mind, put a saddle on it, and you were
Jump
done.
in. Yeah. You just jumping jack in the way you want it, but not anymore. You got to roll it. They got levels out there.
And in whatever they call
Soil probes.
soil probes for the moisture content.
Yep.
And if they don't like it, pull it all out.
Exactly. And they are on us like flies.
So we get bounty on those guys.
Yep. So.
Kings Ranch, last question. Kings Ranch booster pump airlock, is that lower?
Yeah.
I feel so bad that I went out there and couldn't take care of its stupid airlock. I mean, I bled that thing for like 35, 40 minutes, Bob. I bled it. Just like.
Just took more time. There's that much air in the system.
Well, he told me you got to wait till you get water back up in the tube. And as soon as I saw about a half inch, I said, I got water. He said, turn it off. Anyway, okay.
Yep.
Good to know. I'll leave the heck out of it next time. That's all I got. Any other questions on the operations report? Yeah, a motion to approve the operations report, March 24th to April 21st. Jeremy so moves. All second. Dorothy seconds. She beat me. All in favor, say aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you all very much. Thanks, Bob.
You're welcome.
Budget Committee report and recommendation for fiscal year 2023 to 2024. Sarah, Dorothy, Sarah, would you like to?
I can, if you want to.
If you wouldn't mind, I'd appreciate it.
The committee was comprised of Dave Moore, Dorothy Moore, both on the board, myself as office management, and Thad, I think it's Thad Napora, is that right? Napora. And Elaine Clayton, volunteers from the public.
Excuse me, I wasn't on the board. I was removed from the board.
You started out on the board and you attended,
On the committee.
Well, that needs to be corrected, please.
this is
Okay,
not time for
thank
public health. Only 2 board members are ever on the committee, therefore there is not a quorum and it's not a public meeting. Meetings were hosted at the management office for the district. The first meeting was held on March 6th and attended by all. Sarah explained the process, noting the budget committee will draft a proposed budget for the 23-24 fiscal year and present it to the board for consideration. Sometimes it is a unanimous decision, but not always. The committee will also review rates to see if the current rate structure can sustain the proposed budget, and recommendations can be made to the board. After board reviews the budget committee recommendations, the board can approve the proposed budget as submitted, or it can make adjustments that they feel are warranted before approving a proposed budget to present to the public at the public hearing, which would be the following month. It is at this time that the public can offer opinions, comments, or suggestions on the proposed budget. At the conclusion of the public hearing, the board will vote to finalize the budget for the fiscal year 23-24. And we do have to submit it to Yavapai County by July 10th. And that's actually strictly for taxing purposes, which of course we don't tax, although some districts do. I also provided the fiscal year and year-to-date numbers for review. This is a way of looking to see how we did in our previous budget committee, and the numbers were pretty close because, of course, we're looking at just through the end of, I think it was March. I also created the first draft of the budget based on the current year, putting in some pluses and minuses as adjustments that I felt were needed. The committee reviewed this and, after questions and answers, agreed to set up another meeting. One recommendation made was to look into rcac.org, a nonprofit organization that assists organizations such as the district in setting up planned rate increases, with Mayor Water District named as a district that consulted with them. I researched them and even requested more information from them following the March 6th meeting and have had no reply to date from them. A follow-up meeting was set for March 13th, and members were asked to submit any recommendations or adjustments they felt they'd like to add prior to the meeting. The March 13th meeting at the management office was interrupted, with Elaine Clayton wanting to video record this meeting. The chair indicated it was not a public meeting and asked her not to video. Thad also indicated he was not comfortable with the meeting being recorded. Due to the disruption, Elaine was asked to leave. A deputy was in the parking lot and was called upon. He confirmed the office was deemed not a public space and it was legal for us to request her to leave. The meeting resumed, and the only recommendation submitted to the first draft of the budget came from Bob Thomas, our operator. The increases were to 4 expense accounts where inflation was the driving factor. For example, he noted chlorine alone had doubled in price. The budget had a contingency reserve, so the adjustments for the increases totaling $17,000 was made, with the offset decreasing our contingency reserve, leaving still in the reserve $44,000. The revised 2023-24 proposed budget is attached as the committee's not unanimous but majority recommendation. Although the current rate structure can support this budget, the committee discussed the following rate options for the board to consider. For every $1 per month per customer increase on the base bill, the net increase in revenue is approximately $10,000. So the options were no rate increase at this time, 2, increase the capital improvement base by $1 per month. The third one was to make the increase of $1 to operations and maintenance, or the fourth one was increase both bases, $1 each. Respectfully submitted, Sarah Rabina, Office Manager.
Thank you very much, Sarah.
You are
And the attachments are the proposed budget overview numbers that the committee had and reviewed at the time. And Sarah is correct, which I knew she would be, but just pointing out that she's correct that the $17,000 increase is, for example, the chlorine amount that we buy has doubled. It is twice what it was just a year ago, correct, Bob?
Yeah, the cost, yeah.
The amount of repairs that you are seeing in the field is 1.5 times what it was a year and a half ago, because that's correct.
Yes, at least.
So you've got that time involved over and above. Now, did you have a number that you and Sarah discussed at all on that increase in the repair in the field? Or was that just like a FYI?
So I threw a number out for repair.
45.
Yeah, that 45.
We had in the budget, the original draft had 40,000.
Oh, well, is that not included in the 17?
The increase, the 5,000 increase, yes.
It's included in the 17. Okay. Because I didn't have it in front of me. I just wanted to make sure that that item was included in the 17,000.
Yeah, so we're seeing increased costs, obviously, in repair couplers, pipe, all of it.
Everything
So,
across the board. I mean, inflation is, it's up across the board.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so the 17. Sarah is also correct when she states that we had 60-something thousand in the capital reserves, correct?
Yes, well, 17 and 44, 770.
Okay, all right. Anyway, so what we did, if there's no increase, we're reducing the capital reserves down to 44, right? Okay, I just want to be clear on that. And this is the first time you're being exposed to this.
yes.
No,
I mean, broken down. I got to see the gist of it, but as far as,
a little more in depth
yeah,
this time.
yeah.
So if we have no cost increase, we are eating, that's a bad term. We are absorbing, we are reducing our capital reserves.
We're reducing the amount that is still undetermined. I mean, if we had additional expenses for something unforeseen at this point in time, we have an additional 44,707. That could be.
Instead of the 60-something else. But we're still reducing the capital reserves. Okay. So there's the 4 options. I mean, you have no cost increase. That's option 1. Option 2 is increase the capital improvements base fee $1 per customer. Number 3 is increase the operations maintenance base fee $1. And 4 is to increase both, which would be $2, which would be 20,000. If if we kept the capital reserves what it is right now today as it sits and didn't reduce it by the 17, we would have to increase the rates by $1.70 per customer, correct, Sarah? $1.70 per customer per month would be $17,000.
Okay.
Yes, give and take the change. Yes, the few hundred here or there, but about that. Yeah, I'm with you. But the budget committee's responsibility is to make a recommendation for our budget and rate hearing that occurs on May 23rd. Remind me where you were at.
Well, Sarah and I were thinking that we really didn't need an increase at this time. You were. You still there?
I am, other than the capital improvement fund, because but just like we were talking, how everything has gone up so much. I mean, we have 400,000 in reserves for doing capital improvement projects. That is the restricted amount of money that is for projects. And, that will go fast. I mean, if I,
One well without any forgiveness, and there it is.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, well,
so if I can chime in, I just pulled up the quote for one of the arsenic systems. If we replace one, we have three. It's $200,000.
And how soon do we have to do those?
The fiberglass tanks are beyond the life expectancy. And we can drill all the wells we want. If we don't have arsenic treatments, we can't put any water out
No.
So do they have to be done this
Oh,
year?
before they fail.
No,
I don't have the
there's
answer.
no answer to that, Bob. It could last another 10 years.
Exactly. I don't
Crystal
know. And that's right.
But I
I'm trying
mean,
to be
look at some of the meters we have that are well over 3-4 million cycles.
right.
They're 3 times over their limit. So,
Well, then.
well, that's why Bob is doing the in-depth research he's doing.
what are your thoughts on it? Sorry.
Just don't want to hear my thoughts. Everything in the system is beyond life expectancy. It would probably cost $10,000 or $10 million to start.
Well, that's not exactly true, Bob. GOA number 3 is definitely not beyond life expectancy. Told you a billion times I'm exaggerating. But anyway,
Right. So
there are some things
there are
that are
some
not
things,
beyond.
and we just go from a meter pedestal. That's just the first one. The rest of them are in the same shape. Yes, we do have, we're building up a well, so the wells are in pretty good condition. The arsenic systems aren't, the booster pumps aren't.
The tanks, we have a lot
The
of life
tanks-
expectancy
the tanks are
left in the
pretty good,
tanks,
yeah.
especially school
Mhm.
2001 in service.
Yeah, but
So, okay.
the pipeline, the distribution lines,
Yeah.
unless that's, stuff that's Randy's done in the last 10 years, 20,
It's in okay shape.
yeah. And I was looking at, the capital improvement plan that Randy put together. One of the 10 was $500,000 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
The Wanda line. I mean, that's probably,
Oh, yeah, 2006, $500,000, right?
yeah, we're probably
So-
$1 million just for that one line.
How you do one at a time, unless you get one heck of a forgiveness from, you go in trying to get
Yeah.
all 3 done at the same time, but if you got to step back,
Right.
you get a secondary quote doing one at a time.
we also have a time frame on it needs to be done by, correct?
No,
If we,
before they blow.
Oh, yeah.
But if,
And you don't want to be there when they do.
right. So on the distribution lines, if we get lead hits, we will have to go in and replace all the galvanized if we bust on the water quality tests.
Don't do that.
So
Uh,
kind of where we're at.
my last comment is, we are not bound to do rate increases on any given date. We can do rate increases anytime. I know that Dorothy didn't feel that a rate increase was necessary at this time.
Yeah. Makes a difference there, what Bob was saying. So,
Because then how do you forecast for something like that? If
Right.
something happens, we don't have the funds sitting there, then where does it come from?
so we probably do $1 a month for the capital improvements.
Which is restricted. So the capital improvement, $1 minimum is one of the recommendations. What do you think?
I'm trying to run that dollar increase in capital improvement.
On the capital improvements,
I mean, that is, and it's not to create everything we need, but it still makes things makes the blow a little lighter when we gotta go through and spend $500,000 on a pipeline. I mean, just saying,
yeah.
that's pretty hard blow right there.
All right. I can be with you on that. So,
Not to mention them samples come back. That's gonna probably light some fires under this, I think.
2025,
what's that now?
the new lead rule.
Oh, the lead rule.
Yeah, 2025.
Well, that's a copper rule too, right? The lead and copper rule.
Yeah, but they're leaning more towards the lead. I mean, it's lead copper, but it's the lead in the galvanized pipe that they're.
All right. Okay, on $1 on the capital improvement restricted.
If I may, if that's what you are going to do, then that will adjust this budget. The line item 301, which is for the capital fund, the 100,000 will be increased to 110.
Right.
And then the same thing on the second page, the project reserve will go from 400,500 to 410.
What account? What account number?
The second one is on page 2, 692, project reserve
You said that was for it.
would be 410, approximately for every $1. It generates $10,000 additional. So those two items would be.
That would change. Okay. So that can be submitted to the board on the budget and rate hearing. Okay, got it.
Well, that's not right.
May 23rd.
Regular meeting?
Yep. And then Sarah, you advertised that twice, as I recall, in the Prescott Courier.
That's what's required.
And at least the second one has to be 10 days before the meeting, so the 13th. And you have to post, do it twice. You know that. You've done it like 23 times. Okay, what else? Jeremy, Dorothy.
Not the budget?
Yes. I'm good. And see where it goes. Okay, then. That's the recommendation. We actually covered agenda item number 8 is schedule the public budget. Time out?
Need a motion in a second?
Absolutely. Okay, I will make a motion to do an increase from the budget committee increase of $1, capital improvement. May I have a second?
I second that increase.
Jeremy seconds. All in favor, say aye. All right. Motion carries unanimously. Now, agenda item 8, schedule public budget rate hearing. There's not much to that. We need to schedule that for May 23rd at our next meeting and publish it in the Press Courier twice. The last one not less than 10 days prior to the 23rd. And then we'll, how many days, the recap of the budget after you change those couple numbers, is there a requirement when they need to be posted here, not at the paper?
I mean, after it's approved?
Before
That's
May
part
23rd.
of the notice, because we would also post it,
Oh, at the post office, and, okay, got it.
Did you want to put it online?
Yeah, I always have to put it online since the 6th.
Yeah, I'll get that to you tomorrow.
Okay. Agenda item number 9. Big John number 3, well update.
Okay, I have,
Wasn't done. Hang on, Bob. There's a little more. Big John number 3, well update, comma, boundaries update, comma, ADQ permitting / expiration. You start, and then I might infill somewhere.
you can add, okay, so I submitted with the county a permit for us to be able to drill the well. So that's currently in review. This morning they have moved out of review. I am also working on getting additional quotes for well drilling from a couple vendors to see what else we might be able to do. So that's in the works. And then the last piece is talk to the county about their right-of-way. They have a fairly big right-of-way right next to ours. They would give us a temporary, well, for the guy that I was talking to.
Temporary, just call it temporary.
Yeah, he said that they should be able to give us a temporary permit that would cover our backwash tank. And so we would not have to move that.
Right.
So that's positive. We're still obviously here. We got the control panel building that's 2 feet over, but it would eliminate part of it anyways. So that's kind of where we're at this point. Hoping to have a quote for well drilling before this meeting, but it just hasn't happened yet. So we'll just keep on pushing them. And then they'll give us options of what we want to do with the current well drilling situation.
Thank you very
That's
much.
what I got.
I have a question.
Okay.
I don't know why I wrote ADQ. So we have a permit from ADQ to drill that one.
I don't think that expires.
Well, that's why I put expiration.
Yeah.
I didn't put a question mark on it. I should have. But you don't think it expires?
I just think so.
It's not one of those 1-year things? Because
That was simple. It took me a half hour to fill it out. I sent it in. They went, okay, go drill.
okay.
It was the county one that was expiring.
Oh, is the county permit even required? What did the well driller tell you? I forget.
They recommend it. And so Drill Tech filed for the county permit for the last one. So it must be part of their normal practices.
Just to cover their
Yeah. You
cover their bases there.
right. Don't want to bring the equipment in and then get kicked off the property from the county.
For some strange reason.
Yeah.
Okay. You were also you volunteered on, he did. He really did. Bob, you volunteered, after the last meeting to, on one of your trips to the county to check on 502-07-011 on who split it into A, B, and C. You said, Dave, let me handle this. We're up there all the time. Joe and I'll see who split it.
Going in tomorrow. That fell off,
Yeah, I'm sure it was the Albans,
that,
but
that slid off the plate.
Well, I printed out, I'll talk to you. I printed out a whole bunch of paperwork. Looks like the Aldens. And it looks like they split it, like in the 80s. And then 2010 is, anyway,
So just one
that's
question.
what it looks like.
And I think this is where those layers come into play. I don't. Do we want to ruffle feathers? Do I want to go back in and find out who split it and possibly pull up a red flag where we're too small of a parcel again and we should be getting it permit?
Well, right now today, as we sit, we can't get any permits. You try to pull a permit to tear down the two structures, the pedestal for the generator, the genset, and taking down that concrete building with all of the electrical, you won't get it. I'll bet you. Because you already told me they're wise to that.
Well, so we filed for this permit to drill the well. It kind of falls under the same thing. If it slides through.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we'll let the review process go forward on the well
That's what
building
you told me. Yeah, that's right.
before
If
I
you got
go.
that, you would go ahead and file to alter those two structures.
Yeah. And after that, I would also then file for the temporary
Boundary,
use for the tank.
the county.
But I was waiting to do one at a time, so I wasn't raising all these red flags.
As long as you're grabbing county land when you do that, to pick up another 10 feet, you probably won't. But anyway, I'm with you. If we can save not moving that tank, that'd be
Yep.
great.
So I just think piece by piece might be.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the update, Bob.
Yep.
No board action required on that. Agenda item 10 is the consumer confidence report.
It's done.
Oh,
Well,
sorry. Yes,
so-
no, it's not the letter.
Yeah. So the data's all done. I didn't send it to you guys because I thought, as we discussed, that I was rushing it. But I will get that to you guys this week so you can review it, and we'll put it on next month's agenda so that you guys have a month to review all of the data before we submit it.
So this is last year,
This
right?
is last year.
It's a template, so to
Right,
speak,
so,
yeah.
right, so if anybody wants to make recommendations for anything else we want to share, because this letter does get mailed out to every single customer, and we've been including the budget, we've been including the board information,
Right.
we have going back, since we've been under some questions about not disclosing about the lawsuit, I went back to 2017, 2018,
It's there.
and it's in there.
It's
And
there.
and it also has about the financing. So those are the type of things we can put in this letter. This is not required by ADE2. This is what's required by ADE2, which Bob does the data for us.
That's-
So this,
yeah.
you can all take some time to look at it this month and maybe at least a week before the next board meeting. If bits and pieces, what you want to change, add, subtract, we can revise it and then have it for approval for the next meeting.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So back to Sarah a week before next meeting. May maybe she, what's it? Oh, I'm sure we still meet that, on the E. coli and coliform.
Yes.
No detects,
No
it'll be the
detects.
same
Yep.
for this fiscal year.
Yep.
It'll be the same. Okay. Great. Great. Any other questions on this? No? All right, no board action required on that. Agenda item 11. Review of possible revision to the WIPA resolution dated December 27th, 22. An owner user actually made a comment on this, and he wanted me to mention this before we reviewed the resolution. I'm contacting you to request that you table the WIPA resolution agenda at the next meeting tonight in order to give the owner users a chance to get informed and be heard regarding this very important matter. That is, I understand what they're saying because there's been a lot of information that has been generated and put on Facebook that has talked about not this agenda item, but the previous resolution, like we're going to go into debt, extreme debt, well over 200, like 36,000. That's not the exact figure, but something like that. But they missed part of what was discussed at these meetings. Actually, the resolution was revised from this July resolution that they referenced that was 236. It was revised to over 400. I think it was like 432 or something in that area. 432. But the water district was only responsible after the roughly 75% forgiveness of that 430 something thousand. Only responsible for approximately 120,000, which we have in capital improvements right now. So we're not actually going in debt. We are taking advantage of 75% forgiveness of the amount. So I wanted to put that out there. But agenda item 11 is not about that. Agenda item 11 actually is about Bob. This involves Tom Bales at NCS, and it involves the system assessments, which would be everything above, and when this was presented to me before, and probably you, above and below ground, that could be discovered. We're not talking potholing here.
Right. They're going to grab our maps. They're going to ask me for.
We're going to grab every single map
we have. Yeah.
and every single record. This is my understanding. That is online, that's been permitted, etc. So they know how old our back, supposedly, how old everything that we have is. And probably not not how old all our lines are in the ground, but hopefully the type of lines. Now, when this was presented to me by Tom, he told me at least twice, if not more, that this would be no cost to the district. It would run $50,000 approximately. It would take some time to do it, but it would be no cost to the district because WIPO would pay for it 100%. And that was true at the time. Are you up to date on where it is today?
I talked to him about 2 o'clock this afternoon.
Oh, he let you know.
Yeah.
He still hasn't told me. I don't know if he told you why they're not on his list for this year.
Yeah.
But in any event, where we sit right now today is the same forgiveness, about 75%, which means the total cost to us would be between $12,000 and $14,000 if WIPA did not pay for it. And that is what I'm bringing to the board for consideration is whether or not we want to take advantage of that technical assessment and worst case, get to 75% forgiveness. Best case, 100%. And we won't know until it goes through the process. And it's not a quick process. Everybody knows that. I think, Bob, what is your opinion?
My, if we're spending 10 to 12,000 or 10 to 50, whatever that number is, I think we need a line item scope of work. What exactly are we going to get? So if it's just Tom putting, if it's Tom just grabbing all of our information and putting it on an Excel spreadsheet,
You can do that.
yeah, I want him to assess the 6-inch going down Old Lexington Highway. Should that be an 8? Do we have the right pipes where we need the pipes?
What?
My understanding was they were going to do that anyway. Did you have a different understanding?
That's my understanding. They're going to do that.
Oh,
And so that's why I want them.
oh,
So as we go forward and we spend capital improvement money, am I just replacing the lines or am I going from a 6-inch to an 8-inch? Which might alleviate our pressure situation. Up the road.
okay. Now I understand.
So,
He did not present it to me that way. Okay. All right.
and yeah. So if it's our money, if it's the district's money, then I want to
Scope of work.
go to work.
Well, if we approve increasing the December 27 resolution, we don't have to go through it. If it's approved and it's only 75%, we bring it back to the board and they go, based on this scope of work, spending $12,000 to $14,000, forget it. Then it's forgotten. That he committed to today. Say, no, you don't have to go through it. But we only meet once a month. So in order to get him to create a scope of work, we're probably going to need for him to have a signed resolution that includes it. That's why I'm bringing it to the board. That seems fair? No, I'm not throwing my hands up in the air. They have a resolution to modify resolution 2022-12.27 to a new resolution number and increase from 416,300 to 466,300.
And that's to include
Technical assessment of the Black Canyon City Water Improvement District systems in place above and below ground.
Damn.
What's your thought? Sure.
Makes it really hard to see it as far as on holds and it seems the future goes. So I think the help was with the
Are you making a motion?
We want to wait until everything
yeah.
has gone around.
And then once you find frame the
Um, I'm going to table it unless you tell me something that I don't know.
Right. So the only timeline really is as we go forward and spend capital money,
Yeah,
it just helps guide us.
I mean, I would prefer that it includes, we don't have to do it. We don't have to spend the money. We can bring it
Sorry, I
back
don't want to listen.
to the board to confirm it. I'm a little concerned about waiting another 30 days, to be honest with you, based on where we're at on this, because it's going to go before with them pretty soon.
Which is going to be another 4-month process.
Yeah, that's my concern.
Yeah.
That's
yeah, I'll make a motion.
so moves. I'll second it. All in favor, say aye. Motion carries unanimously. 2023-04-25. Adding 50,000. Increasing 416, 466, 300. Give that to Sam. You already wrote down what it was for, right? Yeah. Thank you all. Agenda item 12. Call to the public. Members of the general public can address the board and make comments, suggestions, or complaints on the above matters or any other issue or matter of concern during public call. Those wishing to address the board need not request permission in advance. Board action during public call is limited to individual members responding to criticism by the public, directing staff or a board member to study the matter, or placing the matter on a future board meeting agenda. Are there any comments, suggestions?
Oh, yeah, just real quick. So, Sarah, I'm so glad you mentioned RTAC, as I had mentioned previously. Unfortunately, you couldn't get in touch with them, but I did.
I did get in touch with them. I made an attempt. I sent an email to them.
Well, here's all the information you need so that you can contact them. And this is the information that they will need to get started. And I'll make sure that I follow up. So that was real easy. The other thing is I spoke with Alex Cohen, and she has not opened any of your books since, I believe, May or June of 20. I don't know, I haven't written it down. And according to the Black Canyon policy on the website, these audits are to be done every year, and one has not been done since 2019, 2020. I know you were looking for an accountant or a CPA specifically to do the financial audit for a district such as this, and I can't see why it takes 3 years, but I do have the name of one that I will be happy to send you. The other thing is, so when you say on February 28th at the meeting, I have notes, and you, Bob, Dave specifically said that 4 members of the public, 2 board members, and 1 person from admin should be present. And that was the normal number for the budget committee meetings. On your website, it says just several members of the public, but past board minutes, you indicated specifically as many as I can get. So when you say that typically only 2 members of the public attend the budget committee meetings, I would have to question that. And if you don't want things posted, because I know you're referring to me when you say these things are posted, I cut and paste directly from the meeting minutes. So if you want it explained that only X amount of dollars has to be paid back from the loans, please put that in the meeting minutes, and I will absolutely include all of that in the post. I think it just requires a little more transparency. And then you said it was not a requirement to post well-done. So I'm going to ask that the board put on the agenda to make it a requirement to post well-depths, either on a separate link on the website, but well-depths, if it's not required, it should be required that well-depths get posted.
By the way, are you going to send that to Sarah or I or both or anything?
So what?
The well-depth request or whatever. That's a first request I heard you say.
No, I said, oh, okay, I will send that you make it a requirement that well depths be posted. If it's not a requirement, it needs to be.
I told you it's not.
Well, then I'm going to ask that that be made a requirement so that we don't encounter that roadblock again.
Okay, we'll ask for that.
And I'm wondering if in this budget, since Sarah's makes over $8,000 a month, will that be reduced on the budget since she's supposed to be leaving in July? Will that put more money back into the fund for the district to use on other necessary things?
That's a personal issue between management, which is Bob and Sarah, still working out all of the kinks on when she's leaving. So the board can't speak to that because the board is, to be quite honest with you, at this point, ignorant about exactly where that sits.
Okay.
Now, you know, just a statement. I'm not answering any question because there was no questions posed there. But when you throw out things like Sarah makes $8,066 a month, it's another one of those half-truth type things. Here's half of the information, but the other half is everything that she is required to pay for, which is pretty much everything. But the computer, she said,
That's all you have to do is provide that information.
all you have to do is read the contract. You have like 5 of them,
Do it line
so
item.
be reasonable here. I'm not doing a line item for you when you've got all the documents. Read them.
Okay.
She's not even-
It's not specific though.
And it's very specific.
There's no dollar amount attached to anything. It's just
No.
a list of things.
Those contracts, basically, it's everything but the computer.
It should
she
come
sits
with
in
a
front of.
dollar amount if it's following required bookkeeping procedures. If it would have a dollar amount attached to it.
No. Yeah. What else you got?
I'm done. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I'll take care of that.
Got something listed in this meeting. I believe Bob Hannah said by 2025, all the infrastructure like in the city that has galvanized pipes are going to have to be replaced.
No, I didn't say that.
Okay, what did you say?
What I said was, I don't know exactly the date, but there is a new lead rule coming down the pipeline. If we fail the lead limit, then we will have to replace. all of the galvanized.
And when will that,
It only gets triggered when we exceed the lead limit.
and if that takes place, do you have a cost estimate as to what it's gonna cost to replace all the galvanized lines and all?
That's
That's not gonna be, I mean, I don't even know if you have an idea about how you're gonna.
Oh,
We do,
he might.
we do, yeah, we got the capital improvement plan, galvanized is one of the things that we want to attack.
First, yeah. That transite.
Right, so we're gonna attack the transite and the galvanized, and there's probably, based on old numbers, I just, kind of, because I thumbed through it this afternoon, there's probably, $600,000 to $700,000 of galvanized piping.
And would you dig up the underground in all the neighborhoods to do this? And that's what we're electing to see. That's gonna be what, about a 4-year job, full time?
I don't know.
That's a big job.
And one of the issues you run into is that rule makes us a requirement to replace all of it, all the way up to the house. First time ever.
Oh,
You mean from the
No.
meter to the
Yes.
house? You mean up to the meter, not to the meter in the house?
I'll send you the rule. Yeah, Joe almost fell
How
off.
do you get around the trespassing, Bob?
The EPA doesn't care. So, anyways, I will bring that for next meeting so that you can look at it.
Okay, and then, I don't know if you put this in your annual report, but how much money do we have in our capital improvement fund?
well, the budget has that there's, will be for next fiscal year will be 400,000.
It'd be starting July 1st or that this?
Well, no, that's including what would be collected in the fiscal year, what is anticipated. And again, next month is when is the public can ask their questions, but our carryover for the capital reserves is approximately 284,000.
Okay, and do you have a target amount of what you would like that to get up to? If there's a cushion?
5 million would be great.
Well, I don't know in the past how much it might have gotten up to, but it's what we have now.
No. That's pretty healthy, isn't it, Sarah? Wouldn't you say?
I'm going to say I think so. Yeah, I mean, because that's not the only thing we have in reserve. We have it in reserve for arsenic sinking fund is 92,400. In our general fund monies is 150,000. So there is additional money.
Okay,
And we can spend general fund money on capital improvements if the board so wants to. We just can't move the money that has been put into capital reserves. We can't put that into general fund.
right. Okay, and then you talked about, or Bob Hannes talked about some underground line rules that Tony Chandler had to do between $8,000 and $9,000 or whatever. My question is, does every time something like that happens, does it go out to bid, or does Tony Chandler got a contract that he does them all? How's he getting all the work?
I'll tell you what happens is Bob sends out his crew to dig it up, find the leak, take care of it. In the meantime, before they even touch the ground, they probably applied for their permit. And if it was a small leak, they wouldn't even break ground, right, Bob?
Right.
And then, but if it's a large leak, you can't ignore that. So they apply for the permit, they break the ground. If it's one that you can break with your equipment, otherwise, if it requires a big rig, you just get Tony out as soon as you can.
Because Tony's local, so, no, I don't go for bid. If there's other contractors that are available in the community that.
I mean, do you just like say, well, hey, Tony, you're the local guy, and I'll give you X amount of dollars to do this repair, or how's that negotiation work out? I just don't know how our money's being spent with Tony.
Right, no, I call Tony and I say, Tony, can you get out there? We have a leak. We need it fixed now.
And he tells you what he's charging when he gets done, instead of you tell him first what you'll pay him, or you don't know because you don't know the length of the job.
Yeah, you don't know the length of the job.
Okay.
How would he know?
Yeah, it's the paving. Is it 4 inches, is it 8 inches, or is it, and one of the things that I've worked out with the county So where we run into a glitch in the last couple of projects, in the past, what we would do is we get a water leak, we cut the street open, we dig it up, we worry about the county later. As we're digging it up, we're filing permits, worry about the county later. What happened is we got some pushback from the county. And they were like, no, you're not touching our streets until you have a permit. Well, what happened in Mesquite was it leaked for 4 days before we got a permit. Because it started on Friday, went through the weekend. Monday we get our permit. Well, now we got all this ground that's saturated. We have to remove all of the underground, haul that off, bring in more. So the project doubled in size because of the county. So I haven't seen it, but I will follow up with Sean again because I said, Sean, this has to change. I have to be able to get into the street right away. And we will comply with whatever you need us to comply with, but I gotta get that fixed because we're just destroying your road. We're wasting, the customer's money. Let's work a different way. And he agreed that he would send a letter also to Tony, if we use Tony, that he can get into the streets as long as he's working for us, working for the district, without a permit. And then we'll have to work through the permitting system.
And you can't just get a permit that covers everything all the time. You have to do it each job.
Right. And yeah,
That one.
exactly. Yeah, and we're
And so that wasn't a mistake on our part.
and we're
As it was
Tony.
posted online.
Right. So Tony's a licensed contractor, so they can pull his license contract.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like doing an emergency, not waiting like 4 days, as the example, by getting it right away, you're saving us a lot of money because the ground's not getting saturated, making a bigger job.
That's what we hope.
And
Yeah.
just like an emergency blue stake, you can get them out a lot quicker than a regular blue stake.
Yeah.
So, okay, I was just curious how that worked. So,
Sorry,
go ahead, thank you.
I just have one more thing. I've never seen anything go out to bid, including office management, and I would really like to see the office management things go out to bid and see actual pricing on that instead of just this lump sum with certain things there. According to BCCWID, these things should go out to bid.
They will always do lump sums. If I was bidding operations and office management, you're only going to get a lump sum for me. I've been in construction for 30 years.
Well, and
I would not want to break it up because then I'm giving my competition something to
I would still
to
like
use
to see it go
against
out
me.
to bid. I think it's something that needs to go out to bid, and I think it needs to be demonstrated exactly what the costs are of running the office, what the rent is, what any office help is paid, all of it. I don't think just putting items there is adequate. Or over $8,000 a month, I want to see what that's being spent on.
Noted.
Thank you.
What else you got?
I think what we
Tom?
I had some questions. You really answered a lot with the information that you provided. And
Good.
this Whitefoot thing, it seemed like, it was scary looking at it, honestly, but it looks like a 75% forgiveness. Do I understand correctly? That so you borrow this amount that you said, so it's up to $466,300 if that gets approved. And
Well, the 416 already is approved.
right, okay, so and that's still pretty good. But
But out of that, we'd only owe about 120.
yeah, because you're paying back 25% of it. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So
And is there an interest rate or something that's
It's
on it,
going
but
to
it's
run,
very low?
we don't know.
we're actually at about
I mean-
71% forgiveness. It's not, right?
Okay,
71.
Yeah, it's 71 to
I
75.
just didn't want 75 to get printed. And
Oh, it will be, but it's between 71 and
You
75.
said 75.
but that's, so,
You said 75, now, okay, so, hey, we got it, we understand.
Right.
But that seems like a very good deal for the owner users.
Thank you.
Okay, just,
But I
Thank you,
also
Ben.
think grants should be looked at for the arsenic.
I'm wondering-
Because I know grants are available. Coldwater Canyon
okay, so
applied for and got grants.
Okay.
That's
it's
what
got-
we're working on. Basically,
There are
the
grants
soul
under
of this
this
thing is a
program.
grant program. It's
Yeah.
just,
They do have grants under this program.
Yeah.
They do have 40-year term for disadvantaged communities. We probably are a disadvantaged community. No.
we don't fit the criteria. We looked into that.
Oh, well, you looked into it, so awesome. You know.
Yeah, I wanted to, but I don't know that would have helped.
I mean, yeah, I just started freezing the site, you know, when I got
We looked into
got the
it.
gist of a wipe up, you know, or whip up, you know.
Yeah.
So I just started, you know, freezing their website. And basically, it was an EPA thing. But it looks like now they're doing this thing with the lead regulation.
Mhm.
So they'll give you a little bit, but then they could hit you really hard with the regulation. How much help are we going to get? So, you know,
We're well aware of it. The paperwork alone that Sarah and I and Bob were all involved in is pretty extensive.
yeah,
And then everything else that goes along with it, that
sure,
Bob will be involved in.
right.
Yeah, and so the board and the managers are working hard to try to save the district.
Yeah.
money.
I mean,
That's all time that we don't really get paid for. That's not in my contract to file for with loans and try to get forgiveness.
and thank
or-
you for your voluntary service.
So that's,
Thank you. You know,
Yeah, we appreciate that. What we don't appreciate is having such an amount spent in legal fees, having to struggle to get
We are
that validated.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we are way past due. We're 26 minutes past. So
Well,
if
thank
there's
you.
nothing else, may I have, what was your name? Eagle Durst. What do you have?
Only as an observer. How many people, owners, users are in the district? 865. 865?
Accounts, which equates to about 2,300 people.
Well, I was looking.
is that like meters?
Yeah.
Right.
865
Meters accounts, right?
Right.
And some are commercial, actually.
You don't have a ton, but yes, we've got some. But the point is, there's 865 accounts. Okay. So how does it work, or how would it work when one owner user wants something done a certain way, and you have 864 other people, maybe don't want it to look that way.
Yeah.
So how do you manage that? How would that come into play?
Well, the board has to sift through what's going to work for the district and implement the ones like credit debit card acceptance, online banking, both of which Sarah's been working on credit and debit card acceptance for years, bringing it to the board almost every year because of her request. But in any event, those are no-brainers. But no matter how easy they seem on paper, somebody's got to have time to implement that.
Right. But I'm just saying is you can't have 865 people showing up at the meeting saying, I want this and I want that and I want this and I want that. So how does that come to be? I mean, one person doesn't run.
That's why the board is an elected board.
Exactly.
And it is their duty to, like Dave said, to do what's in the best
So you have-
interest of the whole. You can listen to questions and comments and so forth, but then you have to decide what is really best for everyone.
So you have a process then. That you take suggestions.
Oh, yeah.
And then you present it to the board, and the board votes on it.
If it's something, if it's a row we haven't already closed, yes. If it is, then I tell whoever the customer is that might be requesting it, that we're not there yet. We've been asked this before, et cetera, et cetera. The other board members probably do the same thing. So it never hits the board because it's not feasible for the board to do it.
Okay.
Could that be why everybody just kind of blew Gary, the guy that filed the lawsuit off because he came to the board and you guys just essentially told him to go away, you weren't listening? The system is broken, Eva, and you can talk to me directly. the system is broken and the board doesn't listen.
The system actually works pretty well.
Yeah, it does, really well.
Meeting is adjourned at 6:29. Here, Elaine, this is for you.
The next meeting is.
Third, I
Yeah.
23rd.
Why do you know everything?
Yeah, but it's,
You know everything.
Do you know what?
I do not know what that's about.
Probably more than you know.
2024. When the rule gets implemented.
A lot of people know a lot though. Okay, I was recommend. It's not your approach, it's how you do it.
It's more than
There's a certain way.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Yes.
I'll consider that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a good evening.
Yeah.
I appreciate your attention.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
The grants and all that.
Everybody, bye-bye.
What's this? Oh, we didn't know they were there.
We could end up having to replace a whole bunch of them.
Well, the galvanized line,
Both sides.
yeah, the galvanized line, is probably,
So not really a lot of them.
right, but, you know, I think that's fine.
Causing problems.
There's probably, when I say that, 100,000 feet. Which is probably, I mean, $750,000 to replace it all.
Yeah, and then what were you saying about $10 million?
Well, there's probably enough infrastructure that at some point,
That is probably, in your opinion, pretty bad shape.
Who the hell are you?
Really? But I guess if they we almost have to like, you know, it seems like we have to start trying to do what we can as we go.
right, right, and so I think
I'm
that's,
learning, I'm a big learning.
right, so I think that's the trying to get, you know,
Yeah.
like, the EPA doesn't care. The EQ does not care. Water situation, they want us to comply with the rules.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but then they'll make you reasonable. So they'll give you a little bit, but then they'll make these rules that are going to hit you hard, you know.
Yeah.
So that's how they operate, I guess.
Yeah, so that's,
I think it's pretty.
right.
Good.
It's been very informative since I appreciate being here. Like, you know, it's going to help your approach.
Well, just trying to get the truth out.
Yeah. So we'll get out here. Thank you, everybody, and have a good night, and thanks for joining us.
Yep.
I'm sure I would have had loads.
Okay, we're shutting down. Good night.